seems like you guys have developed this tendency of peaking late in the year for the last little while. Is that by design as players or coaches that you guys kind of hit a certain stretch of the year and kind of start to ramp it up a little bit, or is it just kind of the way it's worked out?
It'd be awesome if we had like a little extra boost trigger and you just press the button come October and you step into it, but I don't think it's that easy because otherwise everybody would be doing it. Very fortunate that I think we have high expectations of ourselves with a high standard, but up until now we've been able to, I would argue, live up to it for the most part and be consistently decent, and have consistently been able to hone in when you can't make so many errors anymore towards the end of the season, and when playoffs are around the corner and you have to try to find your best game. So those are all really good positives, but I would argue they don't come for free. I think we practice really hard. We're a hard-working group, and maybe that's part of the reward that we reap from that hard work.
You've played for Schmetz for a long while now. How do you think that he's managed this year compared to recent years? What's unique about how you think he's kind of handled this group, or how this season has kind of played out?
I think the way he manages all his squads kind of came across, amplified this year with, take ownership of the group, next man up mentality. That's nothing new, but I think it's really shone brightly this year. Like, it's been really nice to see that depth play so well, and it gives us a tremendous amount of confidence. I think we strongly believe there's no stronger, deeper squad than we have, and we've shown it, and have been able to get results. Not just we've had a couple good games, but the result wasn't there. But we've been able to dig deep and get results, and so that's one thing. I mean, I also credit to him for really reassessing. I think during the off season, the guys we lost and maybe the guys that we had still around, and what were the strengths of our squad, and trying to tactically adjust a little bit to put our players in the best positions to succeed. And we were able to do that in the beginning, then kind of revert back to something that was a bit familiar from previous times. But it's good to have multiple formations in your arsenal, and so it's been really good.
Where do you think he's improved the most as a coach? Is it in the tactics? Is it in his management of the locker room? Do you think there's anywhere that you've seen him grow the most?
Well, that's the one thing that would stand out for me, is for you to go to MLS Cup final, then lose a bunch of players, and then have to really instead of just kind of keep headbutting forward with the same whatever you were doing before, to truly have a look at the squad and try to not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but just make sure you tinker a little bit with it, and then have the confidence to start the season that way too, where we know starting out seasons on the right foot is mighty important. If you dig yourself a hole, then it's difficult, and it puts a lot of pressure and negativity on the squad. And so for him to trust us and work hard enough with us on that system, and trust us to start the season and then get the results, I think that really set us up amazingly, and we've had a really good season because of that. So kudos to him for that one.
You talk about the depth. A player like Jimmy Miranda comes in, and to the outsider, you don't really know too much about what he's going to bring. Was that the same for yourself as far as what he might be able to contribute, and then what he has been able to?
No, quite the opposite. I remember Jimmy from his previous clubs, and I always thought he was a very good player. There's maybe some coaches that didn't give him a look and didn't believe in him, or maybe didn't see the strengths that he has, but I always thought he had the quality and the hunger. And I think at the moment he joined our squad, even in training, you saw that confidence. Even though he hasn't been playing a lot, he would get the ball and he would drive a goal right away, or he would try to shoot from 30 yards on a bouncing ball. A lot of confidence, oozing confidence that's scary for opponents. So me having played against him before, that's the stuff I don't want to play against. So I knew that he had that quality, and very happy with his contributions to the squad so far.
You're one shutout away from breaking into the top 3 of the MLS all-time shutouts list. What does that accolade mean to you, and to be in the company, looking forward to being in the company of Nick Romando and Kevin Hart?
Yeah, it's a huge accomplishment. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I grew up in Switzerland, so I didn't really follow MLS when I was a kid, so when I came to North America at 15, you know, that's when I kind of obviously started following the local game a little bit more, and that's when you get familiarized with those names. You know, Joe Cannon, Hartman, Nick Romando. You know, all those guys like you mentioned. So those are big time names for me as a goalkeeper in this league, and really founding fathers, if you will. So for me to start getting up there in those numbers probably says I'm really old, but it's a huge honor. But it also, you know, these stats are difficult for goalkeepers because it's a team sport, and so I have to give all the credit to my teammates that I've had throughout the years. I've been very, very fortunate to have good teammates, good players that mostly make it easy on me. But yeah, huge accomplishment, and hopefully we can get a couple more.
My second question was going to be, who would you credit besides yourself?
Who would I what?
My second question was going to be, who would you credit besides yourself?
Who would I credit? Who, I mean, in this league having played, or overall completely?
Overall.
I mean, I grew up rewinding VHS tapes of Oliver Kahn and Peter Schmeichel a gazillion times until the thing wouldn't work anymore. So those were my two, and I would say those were my two because at that point I didn't really understand the game and what it required, technically, physically, mentally. But I think the one thing I saw early on was their drive, hunger, willingness to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Literally, what it meant, they were coming off the field bloody, they didn't care. So that attitude, like, I was just completely enamored by that. I thought that was incredible, and I wanted to be like that. Loved by your teammates and feared by your opponents, sort of deal, you know. And then, yeah, I mean, as you get older and you see the way the game has evolved, I have huge amounts of respect for someone like Nick Romando, because I see myself in him in a way that, you know, when I grew up, it was when in doubt, kick it out. And that was literally instilled with you on every single time you had the ball in your hand. And then all of a sudden, halfway into your career, people come at you and be like, "Whoa, hold on, let's keep possession." It goes completely against everything you've been taught for all your career. So it's extremely difficult, and for him to have done it so exceptionally well, I think is incredible. So for me, he is the best goalkeeper to ever play in this league. Someone that kids should look up to, strive to, for what he did, but also how he was able to adapt throughout his career. Because the game will always move on, it will always change, and it's not how you were 10 years ago, it's how you are right now. And you got to be able to adjust, and so that's the big one to look up to.
Was there ever a chance you would play hockey?
I always wanted to play hockey. I have an older brother, 3 years older than me, Mike, and in our family you couldn't join organized sports until you were 6. So when I was 3, I was hockey, and my brother started going to soccer and would slowly chip away at my passion for hockey and really get me switched over to soccer. But I mean, we always played, you know, whether it was just like on the ice rink, passing the puck around. I think there's something so soothing of seeing a puck move over the ice when you pass it to each other, and when it hits your stick, I think it's a nice sport to get lost in when you do it casually, not when you do it at the level that the Kraken are doing. So.
Did you get a chance to see their opener?
Of course.
Thoughts,
Yeah, I watched it, and I was stoked. I thought we should have at least gone to overtime. That was a clear kicking motion, if you ask me.
That's what I was going to ask.
But I love the way how he came out. I hit the crossbar like within, I think, first minute. Got into a power play right away against one of the top teams in the league too. So bodes well. I love to see that hunger. Happy to see more, hopefully tonight.
You mentioned the adaptation that Nick had to make in his
Uh-huh.
career. I'm sure it's similar for you, but is there a part of your game that you're the most proud of that you've been able to kind of evolve as the game has changed during your own career?
I would say incorporating certain aspects in terms of distribution as well. That is one of the harder ones. I pride myself on my work rate, and I'm happy that I've been able to maintain it for so long on the training field. You know, because I'm a firm believer that if I work really hard during the week, come Saturday, Sunday, when I have a couple butterflies show up, then I can easily put those to bed by saying that there's nobody that worked harder than me, and that's how I've kind of approached my career, my whole career. And it does require more the older you get. It gets harder and harder, but I've been able to maintain that, I would say. So I'm proud of that, and I want to keep doing it.
The team clinched a spot in the playoffs last weekend. The team's talked about wanting to win first in the West now. After last year on the playoff run and empty stadium, what would it mean to you to be back in the playoffs, playing games in Limit Field with the full stadium?
Yeah, I mean, that Minnesota game jumps out, right? If you get that one at home in front of your fans, that would have been quite a high. And obviously, looking back at it, our final wasn't very good. So who knows if that would have impacted us in a positive way, or if it would have drained us even more. Who knows? But one thing's for sure: sports are better with live audience, with fans behind you. So I'm looking forward to it, and I like the way they've adjusted the playoffs to just a home game, because it really emphasizes higher seeding, and so it's key, because if you have to go to your rivals and it's a one and done, it's exceptionally difficult. So we realize how blessed we are with our fans at home and how comfortable we feel at home. I think we've gotten better now with winning the games finally at home again. So we would do nothing, or we'd rather do this, stay at home, play in front of our fans as far as we can, as long as we can.